everyone, so today I'm going to be doing my first ever book review on this channel, and it is on Panic by Lauren Oliver, and I read this on my Kobo, so I don't have the physical book here to show you, but I will have a picture here of the covers just so you know for reference. I'm just going to give you a brief overview about what it's about, and then I'll kind of get into my thoughts, and then I will have a spoilery section at the end of the video, but of course I will let you know before I get into that. It's about a high school in a small town in New York, and they have this summer tradition of this game, or this series of challenges called Panic. And every day of the school year, every student from freshman to senior has to put $1 towards this game. And at the end of the year, all the money that's collected goes into a pot. There's 2 judges for this game, so they get a cut, and then the players get a cut. And usually the players get around 50 grand. So for the summer that this book is set in, the pot actually totals $67,000. So that is a large sum of money. So basically if you don't pay into it, they'll kind of like vandalize your locker, your car or something, or they'll beat you up. So you pretty much have to pay into this unless you want to switch schools. So the book has 2 points of view, and that is Heather and Dodge, and they are both participating in this game. Heather decided last minute, like just spur of the moment, she's like, I'm just gonna do this, whatever, I don't even care about anything anymore. And then Dodge, his reasoning is kind of a mystery for a little while. So Panic consists of very dangerous, illegal activities, and there's, I believe, about 6 throughout the entire summer that these kids have to compete in, and every round, you know, someone won't complete it, or they'll fail at the challenge, whatever, or they'll just drop out. The amount of contestants goes down with each event. For the final one, they call it a joust, and it's where, you know, the final 2 competitors go head to head somehow. I'm not going to tell you what happens. So that's pretty much what this book is about. I don't want to get too much into each character or anything, because I just want to leave that for you to find out when you read the book. I am so glad that I downloaded the ebook and didn't pay the full price for the book, because I would not read this again. I thought I would really love it. Like, I really wanted to. It just sounded like such an interesting concept, and it had such potential to be this really thrilling kind of adrenaline pumping book, but it just didn't do it for me. So first of all, the first 100 pages or so are very slow, at least for me they were, and it was very difficult for me to get into the story, and it just didn't hook me at any point throughout the book. I never felt like, oh my god, I need to keep reading. Like, I just kept putting it down after about 50 pages. Of all the books that I read in the month of March, this one took me the longest to get through, just because it was boring, to be quite honest. Like, the majority of the book was very boring. The most exciting parts were, of course, during the events, but that only probably accounted for about 30 to 50 pages out of the entire book. And that's not a lot of action going on, and I don't know, maybe it was just, maybe I didn't enjoy it because I went into it thinking it was going to be something it wasn't, but it really kind of was marketed as an exciting, thrilling book, especially for a title like Panic. You kind of expect it to be a little more nerve-wracking, I guess, when you're reading, and I just didn't feel that for most of the book. So the character development was seriously lacking. I feel like when the author was trying to describe their different storylines, it just kind of jumped all over the place. It was very choppy. There were a lot of sob stories. I just didn't connect with the characters. I didn't really care what happened to them, to be quite honest. Like, my favorite characters were Anne and Bishop, and they were hardly even in the book. I would describe this as a very shallow book. It tries to delve into some serious, deep issues with the characters, but it just kind of failed at that. It just left me feeling really disconnected from the characters. Like I said, I just didn't really care what happened to them. Now, for the parts that were exciting, like for the events, they were really exciting. Like, I was nervous for these characters. Like, I was nervous for not just the main characters, but anyone competing in these events. It was just very scary, and like, a lot of people could have lost their lives doing these things, and I feel like if this were done in real life, then more people probably would have been hurt. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. It just didn't do it for me. It wasn't what I was expecting when I was reading it, and like I said, it had so much potential to be a really thrilling story, and I don't know, I just felt like there was a lot of time spent focusing on the characters and what was going on in their lives. Just the way it was written, I didn't feel emotionally connected or attached to these characters. I didn't really like them. I hate giving books like less than 3 stars. I usually give them at least 3 stars, but this one, it was really difficult for me to get through it. It was just so boring. If you liked it, that's awesome, and I wish I had liked it, but that was my opinion. So now I'm going to get into the spoiler discussion. So if you have not read this book and you plan to, then go read the book and then come back and watch the end of the video. So yeah, let's just dive right in. So I felt like there could have been a little more world building. Like there was a lot of unanswered questions for me. How does someone become a judge? Are they chosen? Do they apply to be a judge? Why don't more people want to become a judge if they get a cut of the money with no risk? Who keeps beating kids up if they don't pay? We don't really know who even runs this thing. I know there was that guy that graduated a few years before and he always comes and announces things, but he didn't really seem to be a part of it. He just seemed to be like kind of the messenger at each event. And at one point in the book, it was in the last half, it was after we found out that Bishop was a judge, which first of all, that twist totally saw coming. Like that was so obvious. But he said something along the lines of, I don't make the rules, or I'm not the one in control, which kind of alluded to like, oh, well maybe there's something bigger at play here in this small town. I felt like that had great potential to become an extra storyline about maybe like politics or something. Like maybe the mayor is like, I don't know, maybe it's like a big scandal. So I just felt like that was a missed opportunity for kind of an interesting twist about the story. Like, you know, like who is in charge of this? Like who keeps this game going every year? It felt like the 2 twists in this story were very obvious from close to the beginning of the book. Like Bishop being a judge, I called that within like the first third of the book. Like he was acting sketchy. We hadn't seen his girlfriend around, so clearly she's not even in the picture, and there was something else going on. Like it was just so obvious, like with him checking his phone all the time. It was like, okay, well clearly he's getting like emails about this game from the contestants. And then the other twist, well, kind of a twist, with the tigers, like obviously they were going to be used in an event, because why else would there be tigers in this story? Like that was just so random. I kind of saw it coming where they somehow got loose and there'd be kind of a conflict between Heather and Anne about it. It was just kind of like nothing really surprised me in this book except for the challenges. I mean obviously like most of those I couldn't have guessed, but I don't know, it just seemed very predictable, and I don't know, I don't like to be able to predict books, because then it's like, why am I reading this if I can predict what's going to happen? For the final event, the joust, I felt like it was very anticlimactic, and it could have been done a lot better. It could have been written better. I think it would have been nice to have like an outsider watching and telling how it happened, because with Heather, like because she was the one getting into this like crash, it was just over like that, you know? We didn't really get to see how it happened. I mean, yeah, she told us, but it would have been better, I think, if someone else was watching and kind of narrating how the 2 cars went at each other and missed and blah blah blah. I think it would have been a little bit more exciting. And then with the epilogue, that really irked me. I wanted to see what happened with the last tiger. I wanted to see Anne's reaction to the last tiger being found and probably being sent away to like a zoo. I wanted to see kind of her like goodbye with the tiger, and I wanted to see the resolution between Heather and Bishop. I think that would have helped the story come together a bit more, because it was just like all of a sudden they're together and everything's great. So I think the readers kind of needed that big talk between Heather and Bishop, just telling each other their feelings. Like we never got that. It felt like a cop-out. Like there could have been so much more to the story, and I was so disappointed with it. I thought it would be a lot better, a lot more exciting. So those are pretty much all of the main points I wanted to talk about in this video. I mean, of course, other stuff happened in the book, but I've seen so many other reviews of Panic, and I didn't want to bring up the same points that everyone else has. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed my very first book review and discussion, and I can't wait to do more, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!